Hey everybody, Nick here, joined with my buddy,
Hey, it's Pastor Mike here.
and we are back. We have a little bit of stalling because 150th anniversary, a bunch of stuff leading up to that, so it's been kind of cattywampus here at the church.
Yeah, the church has celebrated its 150th anniversary. The bishop came out, it was a good celebration. A funeral, it's just been busy down the pipe. But we're back at it.
Yep.
Our hiatus is done. Put a fork in it.
All right.
Let's do this.
Boop.
You have a boop fork?
Yeah, it's a boop fork. It has a little button on it. I click it, it goes boop.
Don't give it to Oliver.
All right.
He will never stop. Won't you stop? You never stop.
All right, so what are we doing today?
Well, again, we're still in the Easter season. Easter is awesome. Easter is a long season. It's not just Sunday. In fact, Sunday, May 1st, will be Easter for the Orthodox churches.
Whoa.
Our Eastern Orthodox, the Greek Orthodox, the Russian Orthodox, Serbian Orthodox, they'll actually be celebrating Easter on Monday, because Sunday, May 1st. So it's been a big difference this year between the West and the East. But for us, we're still celebrating Easter, and we're running low on Sundays and Easter. In fact, it is the 6th. It is the 6th Sunday of Easter, and it is a good text nonetheless. A lot going on.
All right.
So, but what have you been up to in the hiatus? Even what's been going down for you?
Well, I've been working. I've been preparing for my mascotting career to start up again because that season's coming up. Whoop whoop! Joliet Slammers represent. Yeah.
You put the mass in mascot.
Yeah, I put the mass in mascot.
Oh yeah.
Let's see what else is going on. School's coming to a close.
Yeah, you're almost graduated, aren't you?
I know, it's great. I've got my education. It's pretty good. I'm excited. Got freaking like a couple weeks left. I'm done. But yeah, what's been going on with you?
Well, it's been good. What's up?
There's a thing out the window.
There's a thing out the window.
This cat has wings. What the heck? It's just standing there in the middle of the road. Look. Is this really there? Look at it. It's right there.
Oh yeah, there is that little cat sitting out there.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the barn cats from next door.
Okay. Yeah, the people next door, they farm flying cats. And once in a while, they like to get loose and walk around.
That is, it's just un gatito, mi amigo. But yeah, no, it's been good. One of the cool things that around here is that our cool kind of satellite outreach has started called Dwell. The one my wife is kind of heading up. It is a church for non-churchy people.
Really?
Yeah, it's cool. We can talk about it more. And even some of the folks, if they hear it, if they like it, they can try it. It's a good deal. A lot going on, but it's called Dwell. So nice. It's a good deal. But it's been wild. It's been crazy. It's been busy. But we shall not neglect the text.
Exactly. For you loyal listeners out there.
We never neglect the text. And then we're going to have even your usual questions at the end.
Exactly.
Hey, man, we're keeping it real. Funky fresh.
It's pretty great. We got our chat pack.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I can't reach.
It's like 3 inches up.
Don't be arms. We'll grab chat pack. We'll let you look. But I mean, but for our text time today, actually, the text for this Sunday, there's a really awesome one, and it is from Revelation. It is from the 21st chapter, and it's a really cool one, and I dig it because it has this really cool image in it. And I'm going to start reading from the 21st verse of chapter 21. Then the angel showed me the river of the water of life, bright as crystal, flowing from the throne of God, and of the Lamb through the middle of the street of the city. On either side of the river is the tree of life with its 12 kinds of fruit, producing its fruit each month, and the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. Now, I really like that. That is actually one of my favorite images from the Bible, this image of this tree of life with its fruit and its leaves for the healing of the nations. In fact, one of the reasons I came to this church is that you know what the image for, what the congregational's symbol is?
The tree.
And what's floating off of it?
Fruit.
Leaves.
For
the healing of the nations.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't think they knew even about this text, but when I saw it, I immediately thought about this Revelation text. Because it's this cool image where you have this tree where the fruit and then these leaves are built for healing. That God grows this reality for healing. And the more I've thought about this text, the fact that trees are so instrumental in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I like to talk about the 3 trees. The Bible begins with a tree. In the middle is a tree, and at the end is a tree.
Invigorate me.
Invigorate me. We sound like a gum commercial. Invigorate gum.
How it feels to chew 5 gum.
Oh yeah, it feels like I just had coffee with a pastor.
Oh, ooh.
That would be the weirdest gum ever.
That would be my kind of gum.
Like church and coffee. I don't know what that tastes like. Hide in the hills. But no, okay, so in the beginning, God creates, and we run into a problem with what?
Sin.
The tree.
Yeah.
Remember, you can munch down anything, but the tree of the knowledge of good and evil,
Yeah. Is
you
it?
can't eat from.
Yeah.
So it begins in many ways our problem with a tree. And our own, concern with ourselves. We think we're smarter than everybody else. You know what I mean? It begins with this tree. And then we go along, and then we're encountered with another tree. Good Friday.
Okay.
Again, there's always that image, and even the Psalms talk about, the accursed one who hangs on the tree. And Christ took then even onto a tree the fruit of salvation, and he died and rose on our behalf. And at the end, because the 21st chapter of Revelation, there's only 22 chapters in the book, and that's the end.
Mm-hmm.
One of the final images is that at the center of the city, the center of the garden was a tree. At the center of Christ's existence was a tree, and at the center of the new heaven and new earth is a tree, whose leaves are for the healing of the nations and the fruit for life. And we're in many ways people of the tree. The tree is a symbol, and it's at those big moments. Mm-hmm. Creation, the culmination of all things, and then the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Our symbol is a tree, for all intents and purposes. That's what a cross is. And so it's this image, and this is, a good image of, a tree, and what kind of tree the church should be and people should be. What kind of fruit do we bear? And what pieces do we leave behind us? And I think this is a great call in Revelation that which we, send out and leave behind us is these things for healing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, no, does that make sense?
It's making sense. It's one of those things that I never really realized it until you pointed it out now. Now it's going to be one of those things that I'm not going to forget, and then whenever anyone talks about it, I'll be like, oh man, yeah, this is how it goes, and you'll be like, Nick, shh.
But and it's a good image, because I also like it too, because Revelation can sometimes get the creep on, you know what I mean? When you got these human-headed locusts the size of horses eating people, and seven-headed dragons, it gets kind of death metal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is my band, all of our imagery for our songs is from the book of Revelation.
That'd be pretty cool. I'd listen to that band.
Slipknot's scared of us, you know what I mean? Those sorts of things.
What do you think, Megadeth?
We think you guys are a little bit more extreme.
Of course.
Because we do. Because we're dragons.
that's their tagline. It's 7 people, and they're all playing on one giant guitar with 7 heads, and they're just that would be awesome.
I don't know if that'd be awesome.
They have one guy who's just the strummer, and then everyone else is just holding the different things.
With a gigantic pick, and well, the 7th seal was broken.
That'd be pretty great.
That'd be metal.
So
that was an awesome tangent, but this image is good, and even as we think about it, here is this tree. God plants this reality for the healing of the nations, and I also like it too because I think one of the goals for even the church is healing. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest, and maybe I'm going to step on some toes here, but I think the church sometimes gets more concerned with being the moral police and not enough with healing people that are wounded. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Most wounded people don't need to be judged more.
Exactly.
And sometimes I feel the church, universal, broadly, does a good job of that. Well, let's judge people who are already down. Because that's what Jesus would do. No, not really. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There seems to be these awesome texts, like, you without sin cast the first stone. I'll give it a whirl. No, that's not the point. That's not what he's saying. And it's a good one, and I think it's a good call to be a people who bear these leaves, this fruit of the tree, for the healing of others. Because there's a lot of people, I think, in need of healing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's a good text for that, and I think it's a good text to be kind of a lens for people to live the life of faith. How do we help heal?
And it's kind of what kind of tree do we become? Because there's kind of all the different,
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing. It's just the imagery, too, of a tree is a tree goes through phases through life. Winter comes, it loses all of its leaves. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, they'll always come back. And being a tree in Christ, being deep-rooted in your faith, is just kind of sealing us in there,
Well, and then, and this brings up in either one, if you want to even go trees farther. Because you got different types of trees. I don't know if I've ever told you this one, but hopefully I get this right. But you get different types of trees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's the tap roots, and they don't bend. You get kind of the sway ones. But then you get, the giant redwoods. And giant redwoods fascinate me.
They're pretty cool.
They are. And I think it was when I was out visiting my brother when he was in college. He was at Stanford.
Okay.
And maybe it was for his graduation. Oh, yeah, he was at Stanford, then he was at Columbia, he was a Harvard PhD. He's a sharp cookie.
I don't want to eat a sharp cookie. That would hurt my mouth.
Sharp cookie is one of my favorite weird phrases I have.
Sharp
it's a sharp cookie. Haven't you ever heard me say that?
I've heard you say it before.
I love sharp cookie. Most people are like, what? She's a sharp cookie. But we're out there and we visited the redwoods because, I mean, they're awesome. And some park ranger, and I swear he was yakking about this, but he was talking about, and hopefully I get this right. If you're an arborist, forgive me if I get this wrong. Yeah, I just said arborist.
That's what I want to become. Screw being a mascot. I want to be a professional arborist.
Dude, if you want to be an arborist and a mascot, you need to go to Stanford because their mascot is a tree.
Really? No.
Yes, it is a honest to goodness. Look it up. The Stanford mascot is a tree. It is awesome mascot.
Is he just a very boring mascot to watch, though? He just stands in one place and he's just like, woo!
No, there's nothing boring about the Stanford mascot.
That's pretty cool.
I can regale you with stories about trying out. My brothers told me, like, one guy lives in, like, a tree house for a month to earn the position. The tryouts are usually, whoever does the most insane thing can be the tree.
Okay.
Which is an interesting way to try out for a mascot. But that would be up your alley. I think you'd finish some awesome stuff. But they live in, like, really sandy soil.
Okay.
You know, these redwoods. And so taproots don't work well. So how some of the largest trees in the world stay up is they lock roots. So they hold each other up. You have trees that literally hold each other up by the roots. Mm-hmm. And that is a great image of even what churches should be. We should hold each other up by the roots. And it's a really, I think, good image. Because those are large trees.
Yeah.
And for them to stay up, they need each other. So even as trees, to bear the fruit, we need each other. You can't go it alone. I don't like the concept of a solo Christian. It just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. It's like having a solo marching band.
It does not work.
Exactly.
One-man bands are also creepy. I'm going to be honest with you. It takes talent, but I've never felt comfortable around a one-man band.
I know. I'm like, this guy's going to explode. Like, he has taken too many instruments. Is this even legal? Like, the narcs are going to just come in and be like, too many instruments, get on the ground.
Yes, the polka police. Yeah. Your accordion or concertina is too insane.
So then would the polka police be called the NARPs?
Yes. They would be the NARPs.
The NARPs.
NARP.
Gotta watch out. The NARP patrol's coming.
NARPin.
Now, let me ask you. You have a $50 in your hand right now.
Yeah, sorry.
I just noticed. I'm like, that is a giant coin.
That is one of the odd things. I always carry the 50-cent piece.
How does that make you feel when you carry that?
I've always carried one for a long time.
That's pretty cool.
Goes in my watch pocket.
Nice.
Yep. No, it's...
So,
yes.
We went to Eschaton House today.
Yeah.
That was pretty an interesting experience.
Yeah, you enjoy Eschaton House?
I do enjoy Eschaton House. That's why I've been doing it for freaking like a year and a half now, you know?
Hey, I even enjoy it when there's angry folks and drunk folks and all the other folks in between.
And Eschaton House is doing a thing with socks.
Oh, promote it, brother.
All right. So we are doing solidarity socks. And so they get a bunch of donations of socks all the time. And they're giving back to the volunteers and they're giving them pair of socks, you know, just to share the love, because everyone needs socks. Socks are one of those things that everyone's going to kind of need. And Brother Bruce over at Eschaton House, he's a great man. Like, he's one of those people who is one of my heroes. Like, how much he does for
He's one
community.
Of the most patient hosses you will ever meet.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, he's got patience.
And he gave me a lovely pair. I don't know if you fellow listeners know, but I collect crazy socks. He gave me black and white socks with krakens and anchors on them.
Kraken!
And it just makes me feel pretty great because I did not have a black and white pair of fancy socks like these. And so now I have something to wear for my choir performance. Because he said that you can't wear colored socks, Nick. And I'm like, I don't want to wear colors.
Dude!
And so,
did you just drive a bus through a loophole? I think you did!
It was pretty great. Because he's like, you can only wear black or white socks, Nick. You can't wear colored socks. And I'm like, man, but now I got...
But Brother Bruce has got your back. I got monochrome bodacity on these tootsies, brother.
It's pretty great.
Monochrome bodacity. I think that should be a name of a band.
That should be... You're just coming up with all these band names.
Band names. That's what I'm going to do for a living.
Yeah, you'll be the band name creator.
I shall cry the name of thy band.
The band.
So yeah, but no, good text. I like the trees. People think about trees. And here's maybe a cool homework thing. You know, imagery of trees. Is there something about tree imagery that speaks to you? I know that's always spoken to me, but...
Oh, one thing too.
Yeah.
Bringing in that.
Yeah.
is I feel like people can choose what kind of tree they are. You know, they can be the inflexible taproot trees. They're, you know, but the thing is, if something crazy comes out of the storm, those are the people that are gonna break down.
They look tough, but they're the ones that break.
Yeah. And that's why, to me, I like to believe I'm kind of like a palm tree. I just kind of sway with the wind. Because, you know, you throw something at me, it's like, it's all right. I could sway.
Well, the swayers are hard because they go wherever the wind blows. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's why I like the image of the redwoods, because we stand together and we are healthy. Mm-hmm. I dig that.
It's pretty good. And I think it's time for the chat back.
All right. And then we'll do the topic of the day. Let's do the chat back as our transition.
If, with your safety guaranteed, would you experience something considered very dangerous? What would you want to experience most of all?
With safety guaranteed?
Yes.
Wow. You go first.
Plummeting from space.
Plummeting from space.
Like if I had like an Iron Man suit, and now you know they had me up in the global, or the you know what I'm talking about, the space center that just floats around. If I was able to just jump from there and just experience falling
from the strat, yeah,
and like not having to worry about a parachute or anything, and just kind of just into the earth, and then be like, that was pretty cool, you know.
Safety guaranteed.
Yes,
I would go deep as underwater as I could, even like say in a submarine, just to see what craziness is down there. Because some of the craziness, even in the deepest parts of the water, is crazier than some of the stuff in outer space, man. Some of that stuff down there in the deep dark is crazy.
Yeah, with all the different fishes and all that stuff, like how they have like a bioluminescent.
Yeah, I'm bioluminescent.
It was crazy. They were I think it was with sheep. They were putting some of those fish, like the DNA in the sheep.
Man.
So like the sheep were naturally producing glow in the dark wool. It's crazy stuff. Sheep get everything, man. Like they get spider DNA, they poop out webs. Like it's just, they get all the stuff.
They poop out webs. They get all the stuff.
They get all the stuff, man.
It's like Christmas with my DNA.
Yeah.
Go sheep. I bet the sheep are really stoked about becoming freaks of nature.
Yeah,
we're awesome. We're freaks.
Now we just need to make them sentient.
Yeah, and self-aware. The last thing I need is self-aware mutated sheep.
I mean,
there's a list of things that I need, and that's pretty low on it.
That's pretty much on the top of my list right now.
I'd rather have a Sharknado before that.
Ooh.
Because if they mutate my sheep too much, I cannot be eating haggis, and I need me haggis.
Ooh. And so what were you going to say, transitioning?
Oh, well, so no, I was, underwater. So topic du jour. What's going on in our world now? We talked about science and reality and faith the last time. I don't know if there's other good science and faith stuff. Well, we had a celeb death.
Oh, yeah, Prince recently has passed away.
Well, Prince just died recently. And we were even talking in the car about celeb deaths and reactions to it. Mm-hmm. And I just, even as we were driving, I thought, this is interesting to talk about. Because even I have some Facebook buddies that are, they're very good at reacting to celeb deaths. And I have some that are very good at being upset at other people reacting to celeb deaths. You know those people?
Yep.
Why do you care so much? And it's interesting.
Well, there's two kinds of people.
Well, there's two that I think of. Yeah, but go on.
Well, there's the people that comment something dumb, and then there's the people who complain about people commenting something dumb.
Yeah.
There's two types of people.
And there's my favorite line. Whenever somebody says there's two types of people in the world, I respond with, yeah, there's two types of people in the world. The people that think there's two types of people and everybody else.
I like, there's three types of people in the world. There's people who are good at math, and then there's the other one.
Yes. I love that one too. But the celebrity death ones are always fascinating. Because, we were even talking about it. Like Prince. Like, I liked Prince, but I know some folks that were like, they bled purple, man. You know what I mean? They love Prince. His jams were, in some ways a soundtrack to parts of their life. Mm-hmm. And when somebody's music or art or something, is not necessarily even creates meaning, but is a way for you to help create meaning in your life. It's a tool for that. Yeah. You're deeply connected to it. And so when the artist who has it dies, that's obviously, it's not like your mom died, but there's still that sense of, you know what I mean?
Like that intimate relationship that's not really there. It's like a hero that you would look up to.
Yeah.
But the thing is, too, what I think about it is, the whole world doesn't need to be, because there's the people, which, yes, they grew up with it their entire lives, but then there's the people who just listen to his music, and they're acting like it's, it's the worst thing that ever happened.
Yeah. I think sometimes there's the cultural pressure, the cultural wanting to be norm of somebody that has meaning for other people, I should be mourning too. You know what I mean? Am I cold and heartless if I don't mourn? Well, obviously, nobody's happy when most people aren't happy when somebody dies. I'll put the most. There are some people that are like, kill them all. No, you know what I mean? But I think sometimes people get caught up, especially with Facebook and some of those nowadays. You probably know somebody, when anybody dies now in the culture, that they might have been, helping them create meaning. Because anything that helps you create meaning, you're going to mourn. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like with, can't remember, I am terrible remembering the names of all, like, the emo bands, like not My Chemical Romance, but, like, I'm talking about, like, Blood on the Dance Floor, like, all those, the crazy ones. A couple years ago, one of, like, the lead singers, one of them passed away, and all of my emo friends, my goth friends, they don't like when I call them emo, even though I make fun of them. It's just like they act like this was, like, their dog died, And they're like, this guy gave me meaning throughout my life, like, helping me grow up, helping me get through the hard times, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't feel anything, because I have no connection to him, And they're like, and they're like, then there was like then there was like the people are like, you suck. He was the best man. And then there was my people like, I can understand where you're coming at. It just sucks that he died. I just had to.
Well, and I think there needs to be on both sides of things the compassion of, I understand it has meaning for you, so I'm not going to be a jerk about it. But I mean, I can't get sucked into it because it doesn't have that meaning, and that's not a judgment on the meaning making for you. You know what I mean? Like, there's people in my existence. I mean, even musician things that they were important to me, and I get upset when they die or they can't do it anymore. Like, I'll be honest with you, it was killing me when Brian Johnson had to stop singing for AC/DC. And even then, I mean, when Malcolm Young, had to stop playing. I love AC/DC. That's probably one of those things that freaks out some people knowing I'm a pastor. I love AC/DC. That bums me out. Malcolm Young can't play? What? Because, some of those jams. And I've known numerous people that are guitarists that are like, I can't stand AC/DC. So they're not going to get bothered by it, like, whatever. But you know what I mean? I didn't, lose my chord, but it bummed me out. Because AC/DC, man.
What was the one band where the drummer lost an arm?
Oh, was it Def Leppard?
It might have been. And they're like, yeah, we're going to have to get a new guy. And he's like, no, I could do this. And, he was able to, play with, his feet. And he was able to, do, all the crazy...
drum one-handed. I think that's Def Leppard. The hair metal bands can... Because it was a hair metal band.
Yeah.
They can correct us. But, I mean, and that's always fascinating. Because you'll see it all the time. It's, you know what I mean? And I think... And maybe this is, in my general, as a pastor, to understand, even when I offer pastoral care to people, there are people that I will do funerals for that I've never met. And I'm not happy they died. But part of my role is to help other people mourn. Yeah. So how can you be compassionate, to people if they're mourning a meaning maker that they've known?
And I think that also ties in being the redwood trees that Christians are, is that we all stand together. And so if someone's down, you don't just let that person down. You got to support them back up.
Nor automatically assume that you're all wounded at the same level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes when people try to comfort you and show empathy, it gets to the humor, it's like, man, do I need to comfort you now? Have you been one of those? You're like, I'm so upset that you're upset. No, it'll be okay, man. I'll get through it.
Don't cry because I'm going to cry. No, I'm going to cry because you're going to cry.
Have you ever been in those where somebody is trying to help you, but they get so upset and so caught up, and you're like, no, it'll be okay. I'll make it through. And you're like, holy crap, you were trying to comfort me, and now I'm comforting you? Did you just kung fu this situation?
Comfortception.
Won't. That's why I spin my coin. Every time I comfort somebody, I'll spin it. Does it keep spinning? We're in the morning. What does that even mean?
All right, and I think that's a good place to wrap up this episode of Stumbling.
Can we do a homework?
Yeah.
Share somebody who was, and again, and I think this word that helped you in meaning making or transitioning or growing in your life. It can be music, it can be art, it can be a sports person. You know what I mean? Because even some of the sports people, they love watching people play. You know what I mean? I knew some guys where Ernie Banks, when he died, it killed him.
And I feel like adding on to that, I'll put some extra credit in here. And what crazy thing would you do if safety was guaranteed?
Rock and roll. All right, well, brothers and sisters, as always, thanks for joining us, and keep on stumbling.